This weekend's local racing action, KC Raceway. Feature event, Delmas Conley taking it home, Mark Frazier, Andy Bond, Larry Bond, and Mike Wilson following him. And the Advanced Services Modifieds, it was Jason Montgomery, Bob Crace Jr., Rod Sire, Josh Edmondson, and Brian Whiteman. The Dan Reno Hobby Stocks, the Dan Reno Memorial feature, 22 laps, all 22s in memory of Dan Reno. His number was 22. Jamie Adams won that one. Steve Bigley, Jim Hildebrand, Brandon Thompson, and Bruce Gray Jr.
Hey, Punky, big shout out to the Evanston. Steve, I know you're listening. Scott, Josh. Josh got the Hard Charger Award, come all the way from 19th to 4th place in that feature race. And, guys, you can come see this young. He's a sophomore in this car, and he is going to be an awesome racer at Brushcreek Motorsports. Again, kudos to you, Josh, for doing a great job. 19th to 4th, Hard Charger Award there.
Portsmouth Raceway Park, finally out from underneath the water. It got its first race in. Jackie Boggs. Everybody seen him come to that place and thought he was crazy. Last year he had a wreck that almost killed him at Portsmouth, and he ended up coming back and winning the late models. Behind him was Tim Dome, and me and Kevin went down to West Virginia Motor Speedway. We'll talk about that later, but we also seen a Dome car down there. Zach Dome and Tim Dome at two different places. We'll talk more about that later. The buzzer, Doug Atkins, won in the modifieds. Make sure you go to the drc.net and watch those videos from Moeller Raceway Park and Portsmouth Raceway Park. Now, Moeller Raceway, Rick Combs took down Jason Jameson. Jason's hot streak finally ended here with Rick Combs. Behind Jameson was Larry Pickleheimer Jr. and Tim Prince and Chad Steepleton. Man, finally took away from Jason Jameson, but I got a feeling we're going to talk about Jameson a little later here tonight at Florence. Devin Gilpin would claim his second feature win of the season at Moeller Raceway Park in the modifieds, while Dave McWilliams and Weasel Rhodes would get past Goddessy on the final lap to take second and third positions, while Goddessy and Randy Walsh would complete the top 5. Jeremy Scott and Jeremy Bretz, Bill Crabtree would come home in third, followed by Dave Kirker and Scott Hess. West Virginia Motor Speedway for the World of Outlaws late models. Myself and Kevin were down there. That was an awesome place. 5/8 of a mile high bank super speedway. All kinds of great racing action. Night number 1, Steve Shaver, kind of a local guy down there. And I'll actually say we went to Wendy's and we talked to the manager, and he said he went to school with Steve Shaver. But Bart Hartman second, third Tim McCready, fourth Chubb Frank, and fifth Shane Clanton on the first night. And on the second night, guess what? The Shaver sweep. Shaver, Hartman, Clanton, Francis, and Donnie Moran rounding out the top 5. And Donnie Moran, one of the names that wasn't there on the first night, decided to come down on Sunday night. Kevin, let's take a moment to talk about that West Virginia Motor Speedway.
Awesome facility, guys. This track actually shut down a couple years, and 3 promoters got together, put it back in racing operation. Had a heck of a crowd. Unfortunately, not a very good car count the first night for 8,000 to win. Only 26 cars timed in for that 8,000. Second night they had 33 cars. Good racing though, man. It's just wide open. The second night you had 2 cars actually in qualifying slam into the wall and taking their nights out. You had the Bettler machine, Austin Hubbard. He crashed out, and then it's awesome racing, guys. If you want to see some cars that absolutely had to put out every ounce there is in one, it's West Virginia Motor Speedway.
Now, me and Kevin were walking in there, and he was like, hear that? Never lifting. In qualifying, they never lifted. I know Kevin on Twitter's got some pictures of the cars going around there. There was one bad picture on there. The guy was hanging it out sideways. You could tell he was wide open all the way, so make sure you go check out them Twitter pictures, Kevin Schoonover. Now, World of Outlaws sprint cars from the dirt track at Charlotte got rained out the first night, moved it back. Donnie Schatz wins it. Joey Saldana second, third Lucas Wolf, fourth Steve Kinzer, and that Tony Stewart racing machine.
Ah!
Danny Lasowski rounding out the top 5.
Didn't say nothing about Jimmy Johnson racing in there, did it?
No, I don't think he's a sprint car driver. No. All right.
He doesn't have the right equipment.
Tri-City Speedway from Franklin, Pennsylvania. Jason Sides wins it. Steve Kinzer and that Tony Stewart Racing 11.
Yeah!
Dale Blaney, Lucas Wolf, and Donnie Schatz round out the top 5 there. So that's how your sprint cars ended up. Now, Lucas Oil Late Model Series, the Show Me 100. finishing out that Ray Cook, normally not a name you hear in Victory Lane. Great to see him doing good up there. Don O'Neill, who won with the first Harley at Brushcreek Motorsports, in second place. Third, Terry Phillips. Fourth, Eric Wells. And fifth, Dennis Erb Jr.
They actually, guys, one of the local Cincinnati area boys led this thing 3 or 4 laps. Steve Casebolt Jr. leading it, broke a drive shaft. A lot of flat tires coming into this race. They actually stopped the race and walked the racetrack to see if there was something in the racetrack cutting tires, but they couldn't find nothing.
All right, now we're going to move on to NASCAR. NASCAR Nationwide Series. The TechNet Auto Services 300 from Charlotte. Kyle Busch, Weasel's going to be jumping up and down for that, wins it. Brad Keselowski second. Third, Joey Logano fourth. Justin Allgaier fifth. Ryan Newman. Now, I got to touch on a point before we leave the Nationwide Series. Man, Steve Arpin.
You're becoming a Busch fan.
No. Steve Arpin, 34th in the junior motorsports car. He wrecked out, what was it like? 3 out of his 4 starts he's run, he's wrecked in that machine, and it's kind of tough to see him doing great in the ARCA series. But Steve, hopefully he can pull it together and start finishing better to save his spot.
Who is Steve?
Steve Arpin, run in our modified race a couple of years. He actually won the first modified race we gave the Harley to, first modified driver ever to win the Heritage Classic. And he was in the second race, couldn't quite get it done there, but running in ARCA, now he's running in the Nationwide Series. So it's great to see a guy that has moved up from the modifieds. And I noticed when me and Kevin went down and talked to some of the modified drivers at West Virginia, they said, yeah, we know Steve Arpin. I think Steve is kind of like the modified idol, a guy that made it from the modified series up to the NASCAR series. So he's kind of like the modified idol.
Hey, guys, just so you know, there's a bunch more modifieds coming to that Heritage Classic. We keep going out, and there's more and more and more people coming.
All right, now the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Coca-Cola 600. Kurt Busch sweeping the Charlotte. He won the All-Star race and the Coca-Cola 600. Jamie McMurray in second. Kyle Busch third. Fourth, Mark Martin. And fifth, David Ruderman. Now, Kurt Busch and Jamie McMurray won 2 in the Coca-Cola 600 and won 2 in the All-Star race. They both finished in the same spots, and it was kind of a Ganassi-Penske rivalry. Ganassi won the Indy 500, and Penske wanted to take it away from him, and they did in that Kurt Busch machine. And I will talk 1 minute on the Indy 500. Dario Franchitti won that. Dad says I kind of like the crashes, and Mark Conway did flip upside down, get into the fence, and tore his car all up, but he is okay after that. Just kind of minor injuries, and you heard that he may have been air-carried. He was, just because of traffic issues.
They've got the best-looking racing things in that race that I've ever seen.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Front desk, I'm back. This is Tom Parton, Brushcreek Motorsports. The only guy dumb enough to build a place and keep it going for 10 years. But anyhow, hey, guaranteed, I think Kevin says the smoothest surface. But tonight I wanted to talk about car count. As I've been watching the car counts at all the other tracks as well as Brushcreek Motorsports, you see the car counts are down. Well, if it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, I probably know 10 race teams myself that would love to be on the track participating, but absolutely don't have any way to afford it at all. And these guys went to West Virginia Motorsports to promote a couple of the races that we're doing later this year, the Harley race where we give a Harley to the modified winner, and then the Billy Bob where it's $7,500 to win the first 50 laps and $7,500 to win the second 50 laps. They went to West Virginia Motorsports or Speedway to promote this race. And it was a World Outlaw event. They had, I think it was $8,000 to win the first night and $10,000 to win the second night. That's a lot of money, guys. And you got to pay that sanction club, being the World Outlaws in this case, a huge $10,000 both nights. They may cut it when there's a 2-day deal, but I know it's $10,000 for one night, $10,000 to win. So you pay the winner 10 G's, and you pay the World Outlaw 10 G's. Now, let me tell you, it takes a whole bunch of bodies sitting in them seats to make that work out mathematically. But they had 26 cars for the $8,000 to win. Normally, with provisions, they'll start 26 cars. They'll have a 24 field starting, and then they'll have a provisional for a World Outlaw guy, or that track doesn't run weekly, or they probably have a weekly provisional, meaning everybody could have started that show. 4 or 5 years ago, unheard of. If the World Outlaws come to town, there'd be 45 to 60 cars for sure. But a couple things, even the World of Outlaw, Punky was looking up the car counts on the World of Outlaw, and sometimes when back when Tony Stewart first bought it, you seen the car count start to drop on the World 100, and I thought, well, maybe it's because they don't like Tony Stewart, the NASCAR boy. But really now I don't think that's what it is as much as it's the economics, and these guys know that they go to these big shows, a moderate or standard team or local team, our local teams, if they go to these big shows, they pretty much don't have a chance to get in them. And so you're seeing car counts go down. Portsmouth over the weekend had a 3,000 win non-sanctioned race. Now, we like Portsmouth. We like the owner. He's a really good dude. If you ever get a chance to go up there, I guarantee you, a super good family. It's the Coleman family. But anyhow, Portsmouth Raceway, very nice place. They had 15 cars, I believe it was, for $3,000. Man, sure makes a guy not want to pay the big purses, you know, because if you're only going to get 15 cars, it's unbelievable. Now, they did have 15 good cars, and they had Jackie Baldwin won 4 brand new Harley Davidsons at Brushcreek Motorsports, and when we in our Harley races, 4 of them bikes, he won it, and he'd had a bad wreck, and was glad to see him come back. But anyhow, the bottom line is car counts are going to struggle for a while, I think, until the economy really comes back. They can tell you on the TV news that everything's better, but until you can buy 4 new Hoosiers for your new late model or whatever car you drive, I don't see it. Car counts are going to be low. Hopefully you get good competitive racing. And, hey, maybe it'll make the smaller classes have a rebirth like the Legends. I'd like to see some more Legend cars come because I'm getting sick and tired of beating Punky and Dave Jamieson every week. Okay, I didn't beat Dave Jamieson yet, but this is Kids Night coming up, and you kids know what's going to happen. You will not be standing by Lightning Dave McQueen car. It will be Barney this week, so come out, and thanks for listening.
Now, Tom, I got one question for you here before we end your front desk. Most of those races you were pointing out were late model shows. I noticed the modifieds are growing, and maybe not growing, but more of them are coming out to bigger races. And even me and Kevin went and watched Steel Block Bandits, which are late models with all steel motors, and they had more cars than the Outlaws. Is it just late models, or is it all around?
Actually, that's a good question. You're not supposed to ask questions on the front desk. That's kind of an editorial. But anyhow, since it's his show, I guess I got to answer the question. I believe modifieds are. It is the most popular car that's raced on dirt in the USA right now. So when you got the UMP, the AMRA, and some of the other ones, they're huge. Their numbers are huge. But the thing that amazes me about modifieds is they never stick together. Like Portsmouth's got a 5,000 to win modified race later this year. We've got we're giving a brand new V-Rod Harley Davidson, brand new one, for $10,000. You know, it's $18,000. Kevin was going to say there. But they don't stick together like the late model guys. Once they learn that, you know, and once you get a good quality field, boys, it's awesome racing because it's so competitive because of the tire width. And some, you know, I like to be maybe overconfident or over arrogant a little bit on our big Harley race, but I'll guarantee it's some of the best racing you'll ever see on dirt. Now, there's a lot of folks that won't come and watch it because they feel like that it's not as competitive or it's not the big boys or whatever. But it's racing like you have never seen. If you want to
go to drc.net, there's all kinds of great racing.
Top 5 in the country was there last year.
Right. And we're blessed, and I hope the car counts continue to grow for those 2 shows. And we're working. Kevin and Steven's going all over the place to tracks to personally pass out invitations to the drivers. But hopefully the modifieds will continue to grow. But as Dave Jamieson said in your interview with him there a couple of weeks ago, the dollars for them is getting ridiculous too. I mean, you can spend. I think he said he had $40,000 in one car motor, and that's a lot of money.
He said modifieds are easy to drive, but Legends are easier on the wallet. Next, we're going to talk about Kids Night at Brushcreek Motorsports. I better let Kevin talk a little bit. Kevin, what's going on?
Guys, we got all kinds of exciting stuff. Kids, if you're out there listening, grab a hold of Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa. Come on out to Brushcreek Motorsports. That's this weekend. We've got all kinds of jump slides, playground stuff going on for the Turtle race, that's exactly right. Last year, Chocolate the Turtle won. And just, guys, great time. And listen, now this is a thing that you need to really pay attention to, kids and Mom and Dad. I know Tom Pardon, the promoter at Brushcreek Motorsports, saying that the economy is a little tough. Guys, not only does the kids get in free, I said free, they always get in free, 12 and under. But if you get a ticket out of the Informer, and Tom sent, I forget how many tickets.
8,000.
8,000 tickets out.
To the schools.
To the schools.
And if you didn't happen to get one, it'll be in the Informer and you can cut them out.
Right in the newspaper,
On
guys.
the webpage.
It's on the webpage. And if you bring one adult, the adult gets in free too. Now,
what if
guys,
it's not their parent?
It doesn't matter.
it don't matter.
Grandpa can bring them.
Grandpa can bring them.
Grandma, aunts, uncles.
Whatever. And guys,
One kid, one adult pair.
Maybe
Now,
Kevin
let me-
Grandpa will surprise him and get the ticket and say that. Take the
yeah,
kids.
take the kids. And mom and dad, listen, I know what you're thinking. What if you got 2 kids? Hey,
Mom and dad.
mom and dad gets in free. Guys, Tom doing a great job. It's kids' night this Saturday night. Gates open at 5, so get there early and let these kids have fun. I guarantee it'll be the talk of the town for a long time.
And they get to throw a bottle.
Yeah, if you're a little angry at Tom Parton, you get to throw
Easy.
bottles at him. Fill a bottle half full of water, throw it at him. see if he
Whoa.
didn't.
Weasel will be out there on the fence.
Oh, no. Weasel Dave Jameson trying to make sure you won't beat him. He'll be out there throwing them
Hey,
at
and
you.
if Weasel wins, and he usually pretty good. Now, this year in the mods, we've had a different winner each week. But if Weasel wins, all the kids are in the picture.
That's right.
I got a feeling if the Barney car wins, they're probably all in the picture, too. So,
Barney Carr's going to have to get a little bit of "I love you, you love me" into him.
he's going to have to get some. He's going to have to get some power behind there. But again, kids' night this coming weekend. Make sure you come out, bring the kids out. It ought to be a great time.
And that brings us through the kids' night. I hope a bunch of you come. We always have good attendance for that, and the weather looks good now on the extended forecast. But I want to talk about Punky's lousy driving. You notice that, Kevin, how he just always stays in the back? What's your excuse, Punky?
Well, my excuse this past weekend, I'm going to use that the fuel pump was kind of messing up.
Guys, now I look at this thing from a little bit different angle, and I had a little talk with Punky this weekend down at West Virginia Motor Speedway. Punky's always quick to get on himself and put himself down and get himself, and I told him to quit that. He's good, but I also asked him, too, I said, when's the last time you checked the toe on that race car? Punky, when's the last time you checked the toe on that car?
Dad, when's the last time we checked the toe on the race car?
Punky, look at your foot and tell me what toe's hurting. Hey, Punky, what he had was he's got a mechanical issue this week. He'll be up in the mix. He had a bad fuel pump, and they got that fixed, and he did a little testing, and he thinks he's got something for who?
I think I got something for really Dad, but Dave Jameson too. And I want to say something.
Dave Jameson.
I want to say something here.
Lightning Dave?
Yeah,
6 times undefeated.
I want to say something.
You may as well race Weasel.
That I want to say here that Tom, Dad over here, he kept always saying all over the wintertime, we keep putting the spotlight on the fuel pump, but and he says we can't keep putting the spotlight on the fuel pump and buying new ones. Guess what it was this time, Mr. Fuel Pump? It was a fuel pump, but no, we got it ready. I'm going to come out there and get y'all. I don't know if I can get Lightning Dave, but I'm sure going to go after the Barney.
But guys, the thing about with Punky, I go to the DRC, and they've got that legend, and that's THEDRC.net. Okay, the
Hush up, Kevin. I'm not
DRC.
in that video.
You actually are.
Yeah, for a second.
First 4 laps, Punky stays right up there with him. And he does a great job. And he starts tuning on that car. Look out. I think he'll make Barney pastime.
Hey, guys, I think another thing we better make sure we cover, it's Enduro Madness again this weekend. So we do have an Enduro on Kids Night. Hopefully we'll we've been getting done really early. Hopefully we can get done even with the kids' things early enough that some of them can stick around and watch the Enduro.
Guys, yeah, and Pepsi, Brushcreek Motorsports, we appreciate Pepsi coming out, being a huge sponsor here at Brushcreek Motorsports. Come down and get yourself an ice-cold Pepsi. I said ice-cold. They've got coolers right out in front of the grandstands there, and I don't know exactly what they cost, but they're ice-cold. Have a good time, and they are great to watch these Enduros. And guys out there, we challenge you. Come on out. Bring the cars out. The rules are on the website. Come down. That's where you, Johnny Ordinary, can come out and race.
Hey, one other thing we want to make sure we cover, when he talked about Pepsi being a sponsor, it makes me think about the people that you hear on this radio show of Punky's that he does every week. The people that's on here, and by the way, hello, Sammy Crawford, but the people that's on here are helping with the fireworks show. And they're all throwing in money, and we had different people that putting in money out of their pocket in memory of somebody, you guys can help us out. The numbers are going to be better this year than ever, I can tell you already. And that means that the fireworks show is now just growing. Every extra sponsor we get, it grows it. And Brushcreek matches whatever the sponsors put in. We match it for the infield show against their show up on the hill. Incredible show, and it'll be coming up before you know it, just in, 4 weeks.
Southern Ohio's largest fireworks show, the Red, White, and Boom Firestorm 25 at Brushcreek.
Australian Firestorm 25.
Yeah. At Brushcreek Motorsports. Guys, I guarantee you, if you want to see a huge fireworks show in Southern Ohio, you better be at Brushcreek.
Now we're going to have a little fun. Who are we going to think's going to win here at Brushcreek Motorsports this week? I think we'll start over here on this side. Kevin, who you think's going to win the late models?
I'm probably going to try with Chad Smith.
Chad Smith, all right. Let's see. If Tidwell comes back, I'd have to go with Tidwell.
If don't count, it's Mark Morrison. Can you spell it? Mark, M-A-R-K, Morrison.
And rumor has it Chin might be in the house, too.
Don't matter. Chin may as well go somewhere else because Mark Morrison, the man.
Modifieds, Kevin.
I've got to take Dave Jamison. He's up there close.
Dave Jamison. Kevin says Dave Jamison. Now, look, we've had different winners, 3 races, 3 different winners, which is very rare for us in the modifieds because King Weasel usually dominates, but he's let a couple other guys do it. I think what he's doing is letting them think they got it going, but you watch Joey come out with the big guns this week, so you got to go with W. Weasel Rhodes.
Well, I know I'm going to get a call here as soon as this show's over. I'm going to go with the kid Josh Edmonston. He was up in front of Weasel this weekend. He was given, he might not have finished ahead if Weasel would have got some circumstances, but, he was giving Weasel a good run for his money.
And like Kevin said, at KC, the boy went from 19th to 4th. We've tried to get him on the daggone radio show, but he's too stinking busy. When you become a star, you're way too busy to be on a radio show with us common folk. But anyhow, Punky picks Josh. What other class?
Guys, also, Dustin Weber. Nobody picked Dustin, but Dustin, he's there every week, too, right in the mix.
All right, now, Kevin, how about them legend cars?
Guys, you got to go with the numbers, and the number says that Dave Jamison cannot keep it up. I got to go with John Gutman.
John Gutman.
John's about a no-driving sorry puke I've ever seen in a legend car. He's as wide as a stinking bridge going down the track, but I will pass him this week.
I think I like John Gutman for his blocking abilities.
Hey, hold on now. The Indy 500, we were watching that, and they black flagged 2 guys for blocking.
Bunch of sissies. Let me tell you, that Indy 500 was the most boring race I'd ever seen, I think. And it was horrible. And what do? They come out and they said guys was blocking. It didn't look like blocking to me. And I know they're going a couple 100 mile an hour, but hey, if you're a panty waist, don't drive that fast.
4 Gs. 4 Gs in them cars.
Don't matter. It's a bunch of sissies. They can't block. They can't do this. One guy led most of the way.
Was there 6 girls in that race?
You see all the empty seats in the place? That's what garbage.
All right. In legend cars, I got to go with the numbers, and that number would be 71. Stephen Barton. Yes, that'd be me.
Who?
Myself. Yeah. I was having fuel pump issues.
Fuel pump and he thinks he's going to win.
Yes, I do.
Mid-car race? Or?
Hey, all his fans need to show up. I think, you got one? Your mom?
Yeah, mom's coming back from Florida today, so she ought to be there.
Just to see that.
So I'm going to go with Barney. I say that 4-car wins this week.
Now, guys, what are we going to do about the crazy compacts?
Crazy compacts. They tell me the tech guy says there's he's going to have a little chop with a couple of the boys that's been winning, and so they'll get a phone call sometime this week. Surprise, hope they ain't listening to this show, Punky.
They are.
But anyhow, they say there's some suspension that has been altered, and they will discuss that with them. The Crazy Compact's supposed to be a stock automobile, so I would have to go with Preacher Boy Chandler this week.
I'm going with Rusty Halls again. He blew up his car. He's going to rebuild it all in the motor, and he caught it on fire, and I think that fire is going to help him win.
Boys, I'm going to go with Smith Brothers Racing, and it's not going to be Rex. It's going to be Tyler, because last year Tyler, buddy, he was good in that little Ford, and I do know that he's willing to put his stock stuff.
I will
back
say
on.
this: I sure would like to drive Chandler's car. I believe I can beat them boys. I can beat the Smith boys if I.
There is a Neon ready to go racing, Thomas.
All right. Well, this is probably going to run over into the next show, I'd say. Thanks for listening to the Brushcreek Motorsports Racing Report. Thanks for listening.